Hello team, welcome to my session on Coffee with Prab, and today we're going to discuss about cyber kill chain methodology. In this video, we're going to discuss about the detailed approach that we follow in cyber kill chain function and how we can build a cybersecurity posture based on the cyber kill chain methodology. If you're new to my channel, do subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to make sure you should not miss my future videos on a similar topic, because I'm coming up with more and more videos on a SOC analyst. My name is Prab Nair. For more information, you can refer my LinkedIn profile. So without wasting a time, let's start with the first part. So let's start with the introduction of the cyber kill chain. Cyber kill chain is a framework which is part of the intelligence driven defense model, which is used to identify and prevent a cyber intrusion activity. And it is developed by Lockheed Martin Corporation. The same corporation was involved in a lot of innovations in past, which include the vertical like aerospace, arms, defense, information security, and technology corporation. Cyber kill chain build a 7 phases parameter by which they're trying to understand the behavior of the attacker to gain access to the organization. The 7th step of the cyber kill chain enhance visibility into an attack and enrich and analyze understanding of the adversary. Adversary mean enemy or attacker, tactics, techniques, and procedure. See, normally what happen if we talk about the traditional defensive posture is like that. Suppose we have a firewall, okay, and this is my server, web server. Okay, so we created some kind of a rules in the firewall. So there is an attacker. Let's take an example. So there is an attacker. He discover my information on the public forum, use the information, and from there he tried to attack my web server. The firewall also working on some static rules and all that, and based on that only it inspect the traffic. So attacker basically discover some sensitive information about the website or anything on the public forum, use the information by doing a social engineering, and by which he trying to gain access to the things. So we have to think from an attacker perspective. Okay, what phases attacker basically use? What phases attacker is basically understand? What phases through which he tried to gain access to the things, so that we can able to break those phases and we can limit the attack. So think from an attacker perspective, think like a hacker and build the defense. We know very well there is a website in which my company OS details configuration is there, and that is like a turning point for the hacker to use to hack against my server. So what I did, I report that information to the concerned authority and we have shut down that website. So by this way, we have limited the attack. So we think from an attacker perspective by which we're trying to reduce the impact. And that is what is covered in the cyber kill chain process. So in cyber kill chain, the model basically identify what the adversaries must complete in order to achieve their objectives. Stopping the attacker at any step interrupt the attack chain. As I said, we have a systematic way to gain access, right? So we just breaking the chain. I'm sure you heard about a lot of trend about this COVID virus and all that, right? Kill the chain. So it should not replicate. Same thing here. Attacker using the multiple phases, multiple steps by which he trying to hack. So we just breaking those chain. So kill chain as a word, when I say cyber kill chain is a word which comes from the military concept, which is used to identify the structure of an attack. And it consists of the 4 phases: identification of target, dispatching of the forces to target, initiation of attack on the target, and destruction of the target. So 7 steps of cyber kill chain enhance visibility into an attack and also enrich analyst understanding of the adversary, tactics, techniques, and procedure. So in this process, with the help of this methodology, we're trying to understand the tactics, techniques, and procedure used by attacker, and we can use the same techniques, tactic, procedure against the hacker only to stop this attack. Okay, so let's discuss about the phases of the cyber kill chain. So first phase in the cyber kill chain is called as a reconnaissance. Okay, reconnaissance. Normally what happen, any attacker gather information about the target. Let's take an example. There is a website, DNS services, email server is hosted on my DMZ. So this is my network. Okay, we have a 2 network here. One is called as an internal network we have a internal network, and we have a DMZ. So we have some systems in the DMZ which is basically hosted for the public communication. Now what happened is attacker tried to discover the informations. Okay, he visits some third-party website. He visits some kind of forums from where he tried to collect the email address of the employees, collect the information related to the website, because there are so many websites are there which also store information about the configuration of the server, OS details and all that. Okay, so attackers use that particular websites to collect more and more information about the configuration, like whois.sc. So if you go to the website, you will get the whois detail about the website, where you talk about the IP. Then there is a nstdomain.com we have, from where you get the information about the server hosting which kind of an operating system. So these are basically called as a initial phase we have, by which he gathered the initial information about the target. And this information gathering is called as a reconnaissance. So we as a security analyst, we're thinking from their perspective, and we reach out those websites, and we're trying to take down those informations from those websites. So by this way, we can able to limit the attack. Clear, team? So reconnaissance is all about where the intruder select the target, research it, and attempt to identify vulnerability in the target network. Second phase is called as a weaponization. Weaponization, where the intruder create a remote access malware weapon such as virus, worm, backdoor, Trojan, and they try to deploy in one of the systems. Okay, that is called as a weaponization. Third is basically called as a delivery. Delivery is basically where the intruder or attacker transmit a weapon which is developed. So malware has been developed, and now we need to deliver that malware. So I identify, so as an attacker, I identify one of the employee who working in the company. His name is Ramesh. So I saw his profile on LinkedIn. I saw his profile on a Facebook and all that. So I sent him a phishing email. Okay, and I'm waiting for the person to click on the link. So what happened is he received an email, he click on the link, and by which the malware is basically downloaded in his system. And now that system, which is basically part of the Intel network, able to help me to establish the connection. So that is basically called as a delivery. So delivery here, the attacker transmit a weapon mean malware, which is developed in the second stage, weaponization. Okay. So it transmit a weapon to the target via email attachment, website, or USB drives. Okay. Then once you deliver, the next part is basically called as a exploitation. Exploitation is basically where the malware, whatever it is there, Trojan, backdoor and all that, it is trigger in that system. Okay, which take the action on the target network to exploit the vulnerability. Because when the person has download, when the person is basically download that particular malware, it is basically create a backdoor, and then through that backdoor I gain access to the system. So that is basically called as a exploitation. And then further I can use that system as a zombie, or I will use that system as a bastion host. From there I can able to attack the further system. So that is called as an installation. So malware weapon is install, which is access point, which is used by the intruder, and then I will use that particular channel as a command and control channel. Command and control channel is basically like a malware which enable the intruder to have a hands-on keyboard. So now I have a remote control over the system, and then further I can able to extract the data, retrieve the data from the network. So understand in this way, let me explain you. So there is an attacker. Attacker basically visit a LinkedIn website. He visit Facebook. He visit Twitter to collect the information about the ABC company, because my target is ABC. Okay. So from this particular source, I got the information about the employees. Okay, how many employees we have, or what are the possible employees we are working in the ABC. I visit some website also, from where I got the information about the web configurations. I also get the information about the IP address. I got some information about the DNS. I also get the information about the company activities, the news media and all that. So this is basically called as a reconnaissance. Okay, initial information gathering. Based on that, I basically build the malware. See, if I want to hack any system remotely, I want to build a malware. So here the malware is called as a backdoor. Or you can say it is also called as a Trojan. Okay, so I will create a Trojan, okay, which I need to deploy in any of the systems. So from the LinkedIn, Facebook and Twitter, I identify one person whose name is Ramesh. Okay, Ramesh. Now let's create a diagram. So this is the network diagram we have. We have a DMZ and we have an internal network. Ramesh is basically part of the internal network here. You're working on the desktop. So this is the Ramesh desktop. Okay, I discovered his profile, and now what I did as a hacker, I sent him a phishing email. I sent a phishing email. So this is basically the third step called as a delivery. Okay, so what he did, he clicked on the link because 90% of attacks is done through the social engineering only. So I identify Ramesh, I create a fake profile, and from the fake profile, I sent an email to Ramesh. Ramesh click on the link and the backdoor is basically downloaded in that system. So that is basically part of the delivery plus exploitation. Exploitation means it is triggered into the system. Now once it's triggered, it is installed in the system. That is basically called as a fifth phase, and then it create a reverse connection for the hacker. And now through that particular channel, I gain access to the system to control over the system, and from there I gain access to further systems. So as a security analyst, we understood from that perspective how the hacker hack. So I can able to break the chain here. 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 So identify the attack points. Okay, so that I can able to stop the attack on those points, by which we can have a limited impact. That is what is called as a cyber kill chain methodology. So it's same example. If you notice, reconnaissance is all about research, identification and selection of target. Weaponization is all about creating a backdoor, malware and anything. Then delivery is a mechanism we decide how to deliver the malware into destination system. Once the malware is installed in the system, we're going to trigger that, which is install the malware in the system, through which I gain access to the system and extract the data from the system. So I have one case study here which give you visibility. So here you can see the reconnaissance. So within the weaponize, there is a PDF file was there. Okay, I sent that PDF file to the destination, one of the victim and all that. Okay, because I discovered the person is looking for the same PDF. So I built the same PDF and I sent this particular PDF, and I encrypt this PDF with some encryption so that on a destination side, there is no antivirus should be able to detect that. So I basically deliver that particular file by email to the person. When person download the email, there was a shell code in that, which is called CV 2009-0658. When he basically run that shell, that is basically installed in a C drive with the name of ffsm32.exe. And then on my IP, we have established the command and control sessions. And then I extract the data from the system. So as a security analyst also, we can check these areas and identify the logs which give me the intrusion about the system activity. Understood? So this is the parameter we have used by which we have performed the attacks. So the next part is called as a indicator and the indicator life cycle that we need to understand. See, fundamental element of the intelligence in this model is the indicator. Indicator can be divided into three types. The first type is called as an atomic indicator. Atomic indicator are those which cannot be broken down into the smaller part and retain their meaning in the context of intrusion. Example like IP address, email address, vulnerabilities, identifier. These are called as atomic indicators. Second is basically called as a computed indicator. So computed indicators are those which are derived from the data involved in the incidents. The common computed indicators can be include your hash values, regular expressions, which is used to perform the attacks. And third is called as a behavioral indicators. Behavioral indicators are the collection of the computed and atomic indicators which is subject to the qualification by the quantity and possibly combination of the logics. Example, like there is an intruder who would initially use as a backdoor which is generated a network traffic matching at the rate of particular IP to the particular parameter. So here the atomic value has been used with the computed value has been used to perform the attack. So whenever any indicator of attack happen, it is a combination of all the three values by which it basically establishes the attacks. So we need to identify all these indicators to proactively protect the organization from the attacks. Clear? So now we need to understand the defensive cybersecurity posture based on the cyber kill chain methodology. So we have this process here which give you better visibility. Yeah. So this is called as a defensive posture that we can basically build based on a cyber kill chain methodology. My first perspective is the detect. Okay, detect basically mean we determine whether intrusion is present or not. One more important thing we need to understand from the detect perspective is we need to verify that, some attackers is looking around, or, we need to introduce some kind of a methodology by which we can able to analyze the behavior of the information parameters and all that. Example, you can enable the logs on the websites. So by this way, we get the information, okay, someone is trying to find any information from the website by sending some kind of a request and all that. You're getting a point. So that is how we can able to detect in advanced stage if someone is gathering any information. Then second is basically called as a deny. Deny is basically all about reduce the impact. Deny basically mean prevent an attacker from gaining the information. Now we understood like this kind of information attacker can use or this kind of a technique the attacker can use to perform an attack against the target network. So we need to block such kind of a things. So we need to apply some deny controls which prevent an attacker from gaining the information. Then we have a disrupt where we're trying to stop or change the traffic, which is basically part of a disruptions. Okay, it means we build the topology in such a manner we can able to disrupt his connections and all that. Next is called as a degrade. Degrade is basically where the attacker command controls. So whatever the command controls he's trying to create, we try to reduce the impact. We try to discard the channels. And next is basically called as a deceive. Deceive is basically where we interfere with the command control and check what kind of a data they're trying to send. And finally is called as a contain, where we're talking about the network segmentation changes. See, understand in this way, if someone is trying to sending a request to my websites and all that, I would like to know what kind of information they're sending to the website. Okay, so I want to detect that. Second is we can have a defense in depth in the organization by which I can able to deny the attacks. So that is called deny. Now third is called as a disrupt, means stop or change the outbound traffic. Outbound basically mean the traffic which is going from internal to external. Okay, so we understood very well there is a possibility that there is a possibility the hacker will basically send the phishing email to the employee of the organization. An employee click on the link, so there is a reverse connection is created. So we need a DLP in place. We need an endpoint DLP in place which try to prevent this particular action. That is why we called as a disrupt. Okay, then is called as a degrade. Degrade mean if he trying to initiate the connections and all that, DLP is already in place which try to stop the attack. And even it is basically able to establish the attack, I want a proxy by which I want to intercept what kind of a data they're sending. And finally, we can have a multiple network segmentation. So even the hacker hack into one system, maximum he can able to access till this network only. So this is basically called as a defending capability that you build, okay, based on the cyber kill chain process. See, defender can measure the performance as well as effectiveness of this action, and plan investment roadmap can be used to rectify any capability gap. Fundamentally, this approach is the essence of the intelligence driven in the CND. Okay, so one example is USCNet. So USCNet investigation of the 2013, the Target Corporation data breach include the analysis based on the cyber kill chain only. Okay, they identify the 7 stage where the controls did not prevent or detect the progression of the attack, and according to that only they plan the functions. I have one diagram which give you visibility about how the controls can be placed in the detect, deny, disrupt, degrade, receive and contain. So this is the reference I have taken from the research paper of Lockheed Martin content. Okay, in the description box, you can find the URL of the same. So example, as I said, during a reconnaissance, the hacker trying to gather the information. Might be they're trying to connect with the website, and from website they're trying to collect the information. So on the website, I enable the web analytics to get the idea about what kind of a behavior is happening on the website. Understood, team? Second is basically there is a possibility attacker preparing a malware and trying to send the malware. So to launch the malware, so we need some kind of a solution to detect the malware. So we install the NIDS. Okay, we provide the security awareness training to the employees. No one should be able to click on the links and all that. So by providing a security awareness training, we have vigilant the user so they can able to detect and notify immediately to the incident response team. If you're trying to install any kind of a malware, Trojan and all that, there is a HIDS can able to detect that. There is a HIDS able to detect the parameters, and NIDS will basically ensure no connection will go outside. And audit logs give me the idea about what went wrong. So from the detect point of view, these are the solution we can install to understand the pattern. Now you want to block the connection reconnaissance level, you can have a ACL, you can have a NIPS, network intrusion prevention system. You can patch the system so no one can able to exploit that. Okay, now you want to learn some new attack. You can basically have a honeypots here. You can have a DNS redirect. You can have a fake system configure here. Okay, so according to the methodology, you can able to place the solution by which you can learn the attacks, and you can able to protect the organization from the further advanced behavior. So this matrix depicts the parameter of how the solutions can be placed and organized in the network. So this is all from my side. And if you find this video useful, do share in your network, and do let me know what is the next video shall I make on the SOC section. If you still not subscribed to my channel, do subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to make sure you should not miss my future videos on a similar topic. Thank you so much. Goodbye.